Hello, welcome to Bible class this Sunday. And I want to say a special hello to Callie and Dilly and Helena and Ian and Isaac. So today we are going to study more about the life of David before he became king. When King Saul disobeyed God's instructions, the Lord told the prophet Samuel he was sorry he had made Saul king. The prophet Samuel was very sad that God had rejected Saul as king. God then told Samuel his plan for the future. Get some olive oil and go to Bethlehem to a man named Jesse, because I have chosen one of his sons to be king. How can I do that? Samuel asked. If Saul hears about it, he will kill me. The Lord replied, take a calf with you and say that you are there to offer a sacrifice to the Lord. Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will tell you the man I have chosen as king. Samuel obeyed. At the sacrifice, Samuel saw Jesse's son, Eliab, and thought, this man standing must be one God has chosen. But the Lord said to him, pay no attention to how tall and handsome he is. I do not judge as people judge. They look at the outward appearance, but I look at the heart. One by one, Jesse brought 7 of his sons to Samuel. But Samuel said to him, no, the Lord hasn't chosen any of these. The prophet Samuel asked Jesse, do you have any more sons? Jesse answered, there is the youngest David, but he is out taking care of the sheep. Tell him to come here, Samuel said. We won't offer the sacrifice until he comes. So Jesse sent for him. He was a handsome, healthy young man, and his eyes sparkled. The Lord said to Samuel, this is the one, anoint him. Samuel took the olive oil and anointed David in front of his brothers. Immediately the Spirit of the Lord took control of David and was with him from that day on. David was a shepherd when he was young. Mrs.Alissa, I'm going to toss the sheep to you. Can you tell us more about David?
Thanks, Miss Roxanne. We're going to continue our story about King Saul and David and Jonathan today. But first, I'm here in our first grade classroom, and I sure wish I saw Elijah and Josie sitting in their seats. But I want to say hi to you guys at home, and I hope you're listening and learning our story today. David was anointed to become the next king, but he can't be king yet because Saul is still the king, and that's where we're going to begin right now. Because after God rejected Saul from being the king, the Spirit of God left him, and he was sometimes tormented by an evil spirit. His attendants suggested a young musician named David to be brought in to play the lyre or the harp to comfort the king. Whenever Saul was tormented, David would play his lyre and the evil spirit would leave. After David killed Goliath, he returned as a hero, and King Saul became very angry and jealous of him. Now, David was a soldier too, and he was very successful in battle. The people loved David, and they said, Saul has killed his thousands, but David his 10,000s. As a matter of fact, Saul became so jealous of David that David feared for his life. Now, David and Saul's son Jonathan were very good friends. David arranged a secret meeting with Jonathan. They made a promise to show kindness to each other and their families. The next day was the new moon feast, and David was supposed to dine with the king, but he was going to hide in a field instead. Jonathan agreed to let David know if Saul was angry and still planning to kill him. They arranged a secret signal involving an arrow being shot to let David know whether it was safe or if he needed to flee. So David hid in the field, and when the new moon feast came, the king sat down to eat. David's place was empty. Saul did not even comment or ask why David was missing. But the next day, when David's place at the table was still empty, Saul asked, why isn't David here? Jonathan gave the excuse he and David had agreed and told his father that David was in Bethlehem with his family making a sacrifice. Now Saul's anger flared at Jonathan. "You have sided with David to your own shame. As long as he lives, you will not become king. Send David to me so I can kill him." "Why should he be put to death? What has he done?" Jonathan asked. And Saul hurled his spear at Jonathan in anger. There was no doubt now that David's life was in danger. So the next morning, Jonathan went out to the field where David was hiding. He told the small boy with him, "Run and find the arrows that I shoot." And as the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called out the secret signal he had made to warn David. "Isn't the arrow beyond you? Hurry, go quickly, don't stop." The boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, "Go, carry them back to town." After the boy had gone, David got up from his hiding place and bowed down before Jonathan 3 times with his face to the ground. They wept together, but David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord. God is witness between you and me, and between your descendants and my descendants forever." The 2 friends departed. David left to go into hiding, and Jonathan returned home. And now we're going to continue our story about David with Miss Yin. So I'm going to hand the sheep to her.
And I want to say a special hi to my group. Hi to Wyatt, Ryan, and Aaron. I hope you guys are doing well and stay healthy and strong. I really miss you guys a lot, and I pray that we can get together soon. You remember that Mrs.Alissa told you about how King Saul was jealous of David. So David had to run into the wilderness and hide. Often David hid in dark caves so King Saul couldn't find him. But there were 2 times that David could have gotten revenge, but he didn't. Today I'm going to read to you a story about one of those times. This story is found in the Bible in the first book of Samuel. King Saul was jealous of David and wanted to get rid of him. All day he searched, but he couldn't find him because God kept David safe. That night, when everyone was asleep, David and his friend Abishai came creeping very quietly closer and closer to King Saul. King Saul was fast asleep, and so were the soldiers who guarded him. They were in such a deep sleep they did not wake up. When Abishai wanted to kill King Saul, David said, "No, don't hurt him. Saul was chosen by God to be king, and we must respect him. We will take the king's spear and water jar so he will know that we have been here. We just want to make peace." The next morning, David shouted to King Saul, "Look, we have your spear and water jar. We could have hurt you last night, but we know God chose you to be king." King Saul realized that David could hurt him, but David spared Saul's life. Saul returned home and stopped chasing David that day.
Okay.
Hey, Natalie, it's your turn now. I toss the sheep to you.
Thank you, Miss Yin. Hey, everybody. I really miss you guys. I wanted to say hello to all the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders, to Martin and Grant and Harley, Samuel and Draken. I really miss you, all of y'all, and our class time that we have together here on Sunday. I'm looking forward to the time when we can meet together again as a class. But in the meantime, I hope you guys are enjoying the packets that I've been dropping off at your doorstep, and hope that you're learning a lot by working those puzzles and doing some of the color sheets and things that I've been sending to you. And I'm very anxious to get all of your sheets back so we can put them up and add them to our collection on our wall. Today in a Bible lesson, we're going to be talking about David. And you know that he was a shepherd boy and he took such wonderful care of the sheep. He had such great courage, and when he had to fight off a lion and a bear to protect his sheep, he led them into waters to drink and grass so that they could eat. And he was very good at doing those things. And you know that he was so brave in taking care of fighting Goliath when no one else wanted to. David had the courage to do that, and he did that with just one stone. And today we're going to talk about David and how he wrote a lot of the Psalms. And we're going to specifically talk about the 23rd Psalm. We're going to read that here in just a few minutes. But a lot of the Psalms that David wrote, he wrote when he was happy. He wrote Psalms when he was worried or scared, and when he was asking God to give him courage. He wrote Psalms when he was sad and when he was sorry for things that he had done wrong. And so when we're reading through the Psalms, we can learn from all of those when we're going through some of those same things in our lives, when we're sad or when we're scared or when we're happy or when we want to give praise to God. Today we're going to read from the 23rd Psalm, which is one of the Psalms that David wrote. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I hope you guys have a great week, and I hope everybody's staying well, and just know that Miss Natalie misses you and hope to see you soon. Bye.